video sponsored by Meeple Movers. No minimum order, no subscriptions. Free shipping on every item, every day. At meeplemovers.com.
Hello and welcome to Brian's Guide Game. I'm Brian. Today I've got a game called Hero Realms. Hero Realms is a 2 to 4 player deck building game by Darwin Castle and Robert Doherty and published by White Wizard Games. In this game, players are building their deck to inflict damage on their opponents. This is much like the traditional deck builder, with each player starting with the same 10 cards and a market of cards to build from. Some of the cards are champions and stay out in front of you and can be activated every turn. They have a defense value so your opponent can't defeat them. If you reduce your opponent's health down to 0, you win. Some of these are guards and must be defeated before you can take any damage. So, let's check it out, and I'll show you some cards from the Wild faction, how to heal yourself, and how to use Spark to do some real damage in Hero Realms. To set up, give each player their health cards, and set it so each player has 50 health. Then take and shuffle the main deck, and then lay out 5 cards for the market. Then take the fire gems and put them there. Then each player gets a matching starting hand. It has 7 gold, 1 ruby, 1 dagger, and 1 short sword. Shuffle it up, and then place it next to their health. You are now ready to begin. Determine who goes first. They draw 3 cards, and all of the other players draw 5. In this case, we're playing 2-player games, so the other player draws 5. So this is like a lot of other deck building games where you take your hand and you deal damage and buy cards. So right here, on these gold cards, you get 1 gold. Same for that one. And this one is 2 gold, because it's ruby. And it says 2 gold. So I have 4 purchasing power. And you can buy multiple cards as long as you have the money for it. So we're going to buy Spark and a Fire Gem. So right here, 2, 1. So that's less than 4, I can buy those. And that's it. So then I clean up, put them in my discard, and then I fill in. Alright, so now it's this player's turn, and we can do 1 damage, and we have 5 purchasing power. So I will do 1 damage to my opponent, so they now have 49 health. And that's discarded. And then I have 5 purchasing power, so I will buy the Wolf form. Now, keep in mind that when you buy a card, you immediately replace it, so I didn't do that correctly on the turn before. They could have had the option to buy that card, but... So you buy a card, replace it, and then clean that up. So this card, it costs 5, it's called Wolf form. It is of the Wild faction, and it does 8 damage, and the player that you did the damage against loses 1 card, so they discard it. And then you can put the card out of play to have the opponent discard another card. So there, and then once your turn ends, you draw 5 cards, which should be the rest of them. Unless you're the first player. Alright, we have 1 damage, 49, and we have 4 gold. So we will buy Intimidation for 2, and can't buy that, so we will buy a Fire Gem. So I'll explain these. So Intimidation does 5 damage, it costs 3, the blue faction, and the guild faction, you do 5 damage, and it gives you 2 gold if you have another guild faction card in play. So it helps to get cards of the same faction, so then you can activate the bonuses on the bottom. And a Fire Gem is worth 2 money, and then you can put it out of play, or in the case of a Fire Gem, you just put it back on the stack to do 3 damage. Alright, and that is a turn. And then you draw 2 cards, and like most other deck building games, you shuffle up your cards and fill your hand whenever you go through your draw pile. we do 2 damage and a 4 there. And we will buy Bright. Alright, so these cards with little health at the bottom, these are called champion cards. So when you have one and you place it, you get to activate its ability. So you can turn it sideways to do 3 damage, and then you may sacrifice, which is take out of play, 1 card in your hand or discard pile. If you do, gain an additional 3 damage. So you turn him to the side, and then you do the damage. And then at the end of your turn, you turn him back up. And for the next turn, you'd use him again. Since he has the shield, he stays out there. Same with this guy. There may be some that don't have an ability that you turn. Actually, I don't think that's true. So there's a whole bunch of those in the deck. There are also some special ones. They are signified by a black shield, and it says guard above it. So when you play a guard, it means that you have to attack that before dealing damage to the player. So if I have these out here, and he does damage to me, he can choose whether to hit me or hit one of these guys. He can't do enough damage to kill one of them, so he'd probably hit me. But if he could do more damage on his turn, then he may kill this one. That would become discarded, and then do the 2 damage. Now, if I had this, you are required to kill the guard first. So first you'd have to allocate 5 to that, and then the rest goes to the next person. Or if you wanted to, you could attack this. So these, the white shields are optional to attack, and the black shields you have to attack, no matter what. So, like I said when I was talking about the factions, it's good to have cards of the same faction. So if I played all 3 of these together, it does a whole lot more because I get to activate all these little green abilities. If I played them all by itself, you wouldn't do the bottom part. So this would do 6 damage, and they discard a card. So they have a hand 5. They discard a card. And I do 6 damage, so they go down 6. And then this one, I turn it sideways, they do 3 damage, and then since I have a faction ability, I do 4 more damage and 3 more. So I think we're at 16, and then I play this one, and I get 4 coins, and they discard another card. So this turn was a whole lot more effective because I played cards of the same faction. So I bought a really cool card in here, Spark. So it only costs 1 coin, but it does 3 damage, and they discard a card. But if you have a faction, it does 2 more. So that's 5 damage if you have wild for 1 coin, so that's a cool card. So there are some other cards in here that heal you. I'll show you the symbol as soon as, there we go. This one, usually the yellow, I think they're the Imperial faction. That means you heal 6. So then you would take your health, so 47 plus 6 is 53. So I'm up. And then there are a couple other cards in here that heal also. So play continues, playing cards, buying cards, hitting each other, killing guards and champions until one player, their health reaches 0. Then the surviving player wins. That's how to play Hero Realms. Okay, I've got my dad here for parents' opinion. So Dad, what do you think of Hero Realms?
I loved Hero Realms. It was so streamlined, and it was just clean, and it's an awesome, awesome deck builder, if you're into that sort of thing.
So component quality, it is a deck building game, so there are cards. And
lots of cards.
That's about it. Artwork, there's cool artwork on all the cards, so each card has different artwork. There's a lot of art.
So yeah, each card has different art on it, but I will say that the art is seamless, and it matches like an unnamed deck builder that uses different artists, and you never know what you're looking at. This one is not that way. All the cards are beautifully illustrated, and it has that fantasy. So this one actually came after Star Realms. This one has a fantasy theme to it.
Okay. Strategy. There's a couple different things you could do. Some things that worked in one game was if you got a whole bunch of the I forget what the faction was called. It's the yellow one with like the little magic icon.
Yeah,
well.
I don't remember what those guys are called.
Those ones.
Imperial or something.
Oh yeah,
like that.
that's something like that. And it's got a bunch of them have heals on them, so then you can heal yourself back up.
Yep.
And that was some strategies that we tried.
Yeah, and there's a lot. I mean, there's a decent sized deck of cards, so a lot of times you won't see those. So like, there's been games where we haven't had a lot of healing going on, and it tends to be better for those people that get a lot of guards out in front of you to absorb a lot of that damage.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Get a whole bunch of guards, but another thing is that you might not see those. So the main strategy in this game is kind of just dealing with what's out there. So you need to know what to do and take.
Yeah, you need to adapt. But generally, like a lot of the cards have a little line, and then there's the second action. So if you have
another one
of that faction, then you get to do more stuff. So that's kind of like the general premise of the game, is to kind of get cards that play well off of each other. So you probably don't want to go get one of everything. Because then they're never going to combine together, right? So you got to kind of want to focus on one or two factions. But sometimes there's a card out there you just can't let the other guy have.
Yep. So, I don't know. You'll have to experiment with some of your other strategies to try to see if you can beat other people playing ours. So easy for kids. I don't know. It's a deck builder, and there's a lot of reading.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, you can't play this with like somebody who can't read. Lincoln is 8 and he loves deck building games, so he picked this one right up, and he can read. So he's in like third grade. So if you got a gamer, a child that is a gamer that is used to playing games, it plays all the way down to 8. I can't remember what it says on the box for the age group, but there are some, I forget, the blood faction or whatever, those dead guys.
They're kind of scary looking.
They're kind of scary looking. Yeah, so if somebody that gets nightmares, maybe don't let them see that death faction or whatever they are.
Yep. So overall, I had a lot of fun with it. I played it a bunch. I played it with some other people when you weren't here, and we had a lot of fun with it too. I think we played it a couple times. That was fun. And
they have a couple of different modes. You can play head-to-head with 2 players, or you can play one against many, or you can play with teams. And we didn't talk about it in this, then maybe we'll do another video about the expansion packs, which are super cool.
And they add some other ways to play.
You want to talk a little bit about the expansion?
So one of them, or one type, is like a big boss pack, and it's a stack of cards that the boss uses the whole time, and then you can have 2 or 3 people going against the boss, and the boss just plays after each person.
Yep. And then the other packs are like individual character classes, so that your deck is a little bit different, and you have a different skill than the other people. So it just adds variety.
Yep. Yeah, so that's Hero Realms by White Wizard Games. Thank you for watching. Brian's Got Game. Please like us on our Facebook page and send us a tweet at Brian's Got Game. Visit our webpage, briansgotgame.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'm Brian and this is my dad, and I'll see you next time.